We had a national television win for the Arizona Coyotes. They take a 2-1 victory over the visiting Toronto Maple Leafs. What a game it was, all thanks really to one man, Karel Vejmelka. He does it again. What a game for him. We're going to talk about him as well as what else stand out in today's Austin Matthews homecoming on this episode of Lockdown Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn, Leano, Karel, Pavlock right beside me. It is Locked On Coyotes After Dark. Those who are tuning in from Arizona, it is 10:38 p.m. right after the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. To those who are tuning in from the East Coast, if there are very many of you who are still up at this time, I commend you because it is late. It is past midnight. It is already Thursday. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired. I know I'm tired because I've been trying to get used to early morning shifts. I've been having morning shifts lately, and it's just been tiring. But this game made me a little more excited.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting matchup. I was not ready for a late start. Well, not ready. I didn't enjoy the late start, but at least the Coyotes kept this one interesting. It wasn't the good kind of interesting necessarily. It was a lot of just heart pounding, like watching someone juggle chainsaws. That was the Coyotes this game.
I'm trying to figure out because like nothing. Like you can't, I can't, definitively say, "Oh, Coyotes had a good game" because they didn't. But I mean, I look at some of the things that this team did, and the fact that Toronto played worse made things better in a way, or like where they just got unlucky. Not really that they played worse, but like that the Toronto couldn't. Let's put it this way: Toronto couldn't solve Karel Vejmelka.
That is undisputed. Toronto could not solve Karel Vejmelka, not for lack of trying. They put up a lot of rubber, 46 shots, 45 saves for Vejmelka. What was it? Hang on. We have 11 power play shots from the best power play in the NHL. Karel Vejmelka was huge. I think part of this had to do with just maybe Toronto was a little bit tired. They played last night. The game went to the shootout. But this was also just kind of a classic trap game. The Coyotes were playing defensively. They didn't necessarily have too much they can do. They just did what they did well enough.
I mean, I'm just overall, just looking at the shot count and everything like that, I am honestly in shock. Arizona was able to was able to win this game because the 48 to 23 shots. Are you kidding me?
It was a lot like the last big Vejmelka game, the shutout against the Winnipeg Jets, and we saw that for 40 minutes where the Toronto Maple Leafs just did everything. Unfortunately, Austin Matthews had to break that shutout 14 seconds into the final period by being a spoil sport. And I don't know if you saw, but I tweeted out that it was strikingly similar to his first goal he scored in Arizona, like his rookie year. It looked like exact same position, exact same play. It was a nice goal. The Coyotes got very lucky on their first goal and less lucky on their second.
The Coyotes' second goal was an extremely skilled play.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a massive shout out to Nick Schmaltz for setting that one up.
Absolutely.
Schmaltz did the perfect setup. Solid Dzingel right freaking there. And let's put Dzingel in there for a sec too.
Yeah.
2 goals for Dzingel in his first game back in over a month.
Yeah. He missed 7 games due to injuries, and was he also on COVID protocol for a while? I think so.
I think he was, and I think we mentioned that it didn't really matter because he was out with injury anyways.
Yeah, kind of like Carter Hutton was on COVID protocol at one point. We were just like, yeah, he's not playing anyways, so
I mean,
what's the
like
better?
Chikrin is right now.
Chikrin is right now. Yeah, that was definitely a big thing, which we haven't even mentioned yet. The Coyotes. We talked about this in a prior episode. Had 4 players go into COVID protocol, a couple big ones, and so the Coyotes played with 4 Tucson Roadrunners alum this game on defense, and I am just amazed at how well that went.
Yeah, it was interesting to see when, before the game, when I saw Coyotes, it's just like, oh, he's making his NHL debut, and I'm like, all right, let's see how the kid can do.
Yeah,
And against the Toronto Maple Leafs, he held his own.
yeah, baptism by fire.
Yeah.
He he led the team with 7 hits, which talk about making your presence known on the ice. 7 hits, that's impressive. That really stood out. His physical play was really on display this game.
Let's put it this way. We've been talking about the kind of more physicality and the kind of game style that we want to that it seems like Toronto wants from his players. And it probably seems like that was the message saying to Koyalchuk.
Yeah.
And he took that message to heart and he's like, all right, you got it.
Yeah. And while he was doing that, I thought Victor Soderstrom was playing a pretty good game as well, because he was also a previous taxi squad player. He had a couple good moves on defense, a couple really nifty moves in the offensive zone. They didn't really result in much happening, but I'm liking to see that confidence. He definitely looked better than he did to start off the season with the team.
Yes, starting to look a lot more confident there, and I think a lot of these players, especially a lot of these Roadrunners players that got called up, that want to take that they're getting their chance. Like they know that the team is rebuilding, so it's like, you know what, I want to take advantage of
Yeah.
what I can do up in on the top club as much as I can right now, before maybe they decide to send me back down, or maybe not. Maybe I can, say, all right, look at me. I am going to be a part of this team through this rebuild, and I am going to make a difference for you guys.
Yeah. And especially for the defensemen, they have just all the opportunities in the world with the injuries that we've seen, with Chikrin being out, with Timmins being out. This is not the blue line that we thought, and we are seeing players take advantage of it. Janis Mosier, I think it's hard to imagine him going back to the AHL because he's just looked so good. He continued to look good. He finished a +1, which, yeah, it's pretty impressive. Honestly, take or leave plus minus as a stat. I personally don't like it, but only one Coyotes defenseman was a minus. That was Dyson Mayo. That's just it speaks to how tight this game was, because when you have 4 AHL caliber guys, you expect there to be a lot more offense happening, and it just didn't. And that comes to just simplifying the game.
It does, and I think that's what makes things, what makes this game, which made this game an interesting one to watch. We still got more to get to on this episode, though, of Locked On Coyotes. We're going to take a quick step aside just for about a brief second or two before we finish things off. We continue this episode of Locked On Coyotes After Dark to update you guys on this Coyotes win, so stay tuned. And we're back here on Locked On Coyotes. As we discussed, the Arizona Coyotes win, 2-1 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs on national television. Before I go back to any other thought, though, Matt, just think about this, Carl. Think about what Maple Leafs fans think right now. They just lost to the Arizona Coyotes on national television.
Yeah, that has got to be pretty embarrassing. I would not want to have to lose to the Arizona Coyotes this season. A few teams have. I do like the Coyotes seem to be embarrassing the Canadian teams. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing. You have that one. Although, I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out next week when we go tank squad against the Canadians. Who can be more
If
disappointing?
this should make you feel a little bit better if you are listening, Toronto Maple Leafs fans. With that win, the Coyotes have now overtaken the Montreal Canadiens, and the Montreal Canadiens are now the worst team in the NHL, which is
Oh my God.
truly impressive, considering the Coyotes have the Canadian second round pick for this or first round pick, kind of for this upcoming draft. Probably not going to be this one. It'll probably be Carolina, but for a team that was going like all in on getting stuff, like this is it's not where you expect Montreal to be.
No, not at all. But I want to go back to focus on the Coyote side of things, Carl. And you mentioned the defense too, and a lot of the things that this defense part of the team did, because it made me think back to what we were talking about before the season began. Remember, before the season began, you and I were like, "This defense is going to be a silver lining. This defense is going to be a silver lining." When the
Sure.
season began, the first couple of weeks, we were just like, "Holy crap! This defense is actually really, really bad."
Yeah.
But then the Roadrunners defense part of the defensive players came in, and then they are trying to prove themselves. And oh my God, they're actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's coming back to the silver lining, and maybe the silver lining should have been the Roadrunners defense.
uh, Yeah, probably. The all credit to the Roadrunners players; they have definitely stepped up in this crazy year. I do want to make sure to give some credit to our non-Roadrunners players, Shane Gostisbehere, Ilya Lyubushkin.
Mhm.
Both I thought had pretty good games. Ghost quite a few solid moments. Just couldn't really make anything happen. But those two have definitely kind of like stepped up, and I think took like the big minutes that let the rest of the Coyotes defense kind of like shine and do what they needed to do. But you're right, the defense we're getting from players like Mayo and Mosier and the new guys like Soderstrom and Kolyachuk, it's just impressive to see.
And let's put that highlight back on Mosier for a sec, because in the second period, that dude skated for 3.5 minutes on the ice straight. A 3.5 minute shift, guys, for a young player of Giannis Mosier is unbelievable.
Yeah, for a rookie to get 3.5 minutes, that's just insane. It's probably a good thing he's only 20 years old because I imagine that would kill me. He looked absolutely gassed when the Coyotes had to do that face off of the icing. It's
Yep.
just like, don't make me go back out there. Vejmelka was able to get like a save almost immediately after and like give him some fresh, some rest. But dang, that was a long shift. That was a long shift for everybody, and it was just extra long for Mosier.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look more big picture here for from advanced stats and just like extra stats of this game. I mentioned the shots for, but what about the Corsi? Are you ready for this? Are you prepared for this, Carl?
I am because I was watching the TNT broadcast and it had the possession clock just on there, and that was just embarrassing to see. But yeah, tell me the Corsi.
So the Corsi was 85-39 in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is a what? Plus 20 or I mean plus 40 something, right? 45, 44, plus 44?
Yeah, 85 and 39.
Oh,
That would
30,
be
46, I think.
um
Yeah, 46.
Yes, that's 46.
Plus
It's
46.
it's late. It's too late to do math.
I know.
But yeah,
I went into journalism, so I didn't have to do math, and now I'm starting to do this. Come on.
but yeah, no. Toronto controlled the pace of the game. Like the reason Eunice Mosier had to do a 3 minute and 30-second shift wasn't because the coaching staff decided to prank him. It was because the Coyotes got stuck in their own zone, and then they iced the puck. It was not a great game to watch, which is why I kind of wanted to push back on like saying that the Maple Leafs didn't play a good game. I thought they played a very good game. They just couldn't score.
That's what I was trying to say. I misspoke at the beginning when I said they played worse. It's more of just like you know what I was trying to say.
It felt a lot like quite a few Coyotes games we have seen in the past where you're just like trying everything but still not scoring. Toronto definitely had more offensive weapons, so they were trying a lot more things that Coyotes have never done. But seeing that team just fail to score, I'm like, oh, I have sympathy pains.
Here are some of the other stats for you who want to know what it is. 48 to 23 scoring chances. 22 to 10 high danger Corsi for in favor of the Maple Leafs. And expected goals was 5.89 to 2.07. So this based off based off expected goals, the final score would have been roughly where you and I thought this game would have ended, like based off somewhere between what our predicted final score was going to be.
Oh yeah, which is just crazy to watch. I think like after the first minute, the Coyotes had like after a first period, the Coyotes had the 1-0 lead. I'm like, yeah, my score prediction is not going to be it right at all. Just because I don't see the Maple Leafs finding a way to beat Vejmelka. And like I said, Matthews killed the shutout, total killjoy move, but you can see early on that this was going to be Vejmelka's show. And once he got past that second period, which is when the Coyotes normally collapse, you're like, okay, yeah, we got this.
Just reel it in. Let's just reel it in. That's all
20
it was.
more minutes.
20 more minutes. And it showed, too, based off where all this happened and, how it went down. I'm going to bring up the heat map to kind of show you. I mean, we've given you the numbers. They kind of give us an idea of how all over the Toronto Maple Leafs were. Here gives us an idea of their high danger chances and their scoring chances and how they were so freaking prevalent in front of the crease, and the fact that Karel Vejmelka still did a phenomenal job. Here you go. That is an impressive heat map.
That is, like, if you're looking, it's just the Maple Leafs are all over the place, and just it's the thickest amount of blue in front of the net. That is just insane.
And I saw some of Veggie's saves, and he just leans up and just does these saves, and I'm just like, dude, you are a savior on this Coyotes team.
We got glove saves, we got toe saves. He had to like lay down on the ice quite a few times. He did a split at one point, just all over the ice. A lot of people were saying they channeled his inner Dominic Hasek, which was just great to see. It was the Vejmelka show. I think he's kind of established himself as a phenomenal goaltender. I don't know if people necessarily think he's going to be like this flash in the pan. Like, there's still a lot of questions moving forward. Like, can he maintain this pace? But he's really impressing.
He's adjusted to the North American game very well after just coming right on over, right?
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing.
From like not even like the top European league, like a lower Czech league. It just kind of goes to show like, goaltenders are just so good now. Like, we understand that element of the game so much better. the experts understand, goaltending coaches, conditioning people, like everyone who is involved in that area, they just understand that game so well that even like a player in a league that you wouldn't expect is able to just do stuff and make the big saves if given the chance. It's a fun story. I do kind of wonder if we're going to get more of it because every single year we kind of get the this goalie came out of nowhere and look at what they're doing.
Yeah, a lot of goalies have really just phenomenal rookie seasons. They just come out of absolute news. Like, who is this? Like why haven't we heard of him? That's kind of what's going on with Karel Vejmelka. Is he just came out of nowhere this season. He's like, whoa, who is this kid?
Could you imagine if the Coyotes had been like somewhat competitive and Vejmelka had like come out and been like that, like kind of diamond in the rough signing? That would have been huge. Like
Hmm.
going in with like an unexpected like goalie. Like let's say completely different world. The Coyotes decide to keep Kemper, but let everyone else go. Just sign a prospect. We get a Kemper Vejmelka tandem or just traditional starter backup. Like that'd be something to watch.
I'd like that. I would have loved to see that. Um, that would have been pretty. That would have been a nice one. But it definitely looks like Vejmelka has a place with this Coyotes team. He looks like
Mhm.
he's fitting in quite well.
Yeah. Although you say that, no, he's probably on the trade block because it's still a rebuild. It's still a
It still
rebuild. So
is a rebuild. So
even the best players.
even like the best players are gonna be are going to be inquired about. It's like, all right, what do you want for this player?
Yeah.
Do you want? And although do think one thing is because it's still too early, I don't think even though Vejmelka is doing well, his value is high enough to know a good enough return.
Yeah.
At least because unless you have a stupid general manager who just wants to take that risk right away, which I'm not saying that's stupid. It is extremely risky.
Yeah. Goaltending is definitely not like a safe bet. Vejmelka is still really untested. Um, Goalies in general just don't have a high price. It was astonishing to see Kemper like go for a first because I don't think anyone was really expecting that. Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely I don't
Kemper went
know.
for a first. Hill went for a second. Like,
Yeah, that was just I don't know if that was just an abbreviation or if Bill Armstrong was practicing Jedi mind tricks.
that's why I call him Bargain Bill.
Bargain Bill, that's a good one.
Anyways, we still got more to get to in this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We're gonna go wrap things up of this Toronto game, give our final thoughts, and then take a brief, like, quick preview to what's coming up this weekend for the Arizona Coyotes. All that coming up in just a moment. But first, Carl has something he'd like to share with us.
That I do, and that is a greeting from our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year, and they have a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today at, and you could receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Also, speaking of Bet Online, Carl, even though we didn't have the full on odds when we recorded the pregame show, let's just go on and say that both of us were completely way off pace.
Yep,
If we actually saw the lines and made our predictions, we would have been 100% wrong. The
yep.
only bit that I would have been right about, and that's I said and I say me because it's the final score for the Coyote side. I said that they were going to score 2.
Where did I say? Did I say?
I think you said 3. I
Sounds
think you
like me.
said like a. I think you said
5-3.
6-3. I think you said 6-3.
Oh yeah, I did say 6-3.
Yeah.
Because they had just gotten 6 over the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, you were right about that. I was also wrong about the first goal. I thought it would come within the first 10 minutes. Um, I will say that the Coyotes gave the Toronto Maple Leafs a power play opportunity in the first 10 minutes, so they did everything they
I
could
think
to make me
it was
right.
a couple power play opportunities, wasn't it?
I don't think no, like it was 9:21 for the first one.
Oh,
So
but
just missed it for that second one. Yeah. And then Dzingledink is first until 14:57. So um the KOs tried to make me right, but they could not.
so way off base for all of us. But you know what? That's part of the betting game. Where sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes games like this just happen. Games we don't expect.
Yeah.
And again, just a massive shout out to Karel Vejmelka for having these kind of games. Like, it's amazing. I love
And you
watching
can't
footy.
really predict these kind of games either. Like
Mm-mm.
you can't predict that a goaltender is going to stand on his head one night versus any other. Um, I don't know. Maybe the Maple Leafs cut in front of Melka at the bagel line and got the last bagel. He's like, I don't know. I'm just going to take this win. Who knows what happened to make this? But
What
he
was
was
it
just
that what was it that TNT said? I think they said something about like I think what Vejmelka has had 3 games of over 40 saves.
uh, I know they mentioned the one specifically. Uh,
They mentioned the Jets game when he had 46 saves and that was a shutout victory.
yeah.
In this game he had 45 saves.
Uh, yep. Well, he also had 48 saves against Winnipeg the other night, because Winnipeg was just taking shots. So yes, this is his third game this season where
Of
he
at
has
least 45 saves.
of at least 45 saves. That is impressive, especially considering he has a 2-1 record for that.
Now this begs the question as we slowly run out of time on this episode of Locked On Coyotes After Dark, and that is how do you manage at least the first game of this home and home back to back with the Colorado Avalanche, because I believe now they go to Colorado before coming back here.
Yes.
Wedgwood is still on COVID protocol. You have Ivan Prosvetov backing up Vejmelka. Um, Vejmelka's already started 3 straight games.
Um, wasn't it? No, four.
Four
Four
straight
straight.
games. Do you give him a fifth straight, or do you just give that first game to Prosvetov and just be like, you know what, Vejmelka, you deserve a day off? Or do you ride the hot hand?
Honestly, the fact that we're talking about this is revenge for us questioning Tuckett on the Aiden Hill 11 starts, because fittingly it happened on TNT night. I think it's tough. Poor Prosvetov, he gets thrown to the wolves every single time.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm just stalling for time now. I I think you ride the hot hand. I hate the hot hand. I always like to call it the hot hand fallacy because it is a fallacy. But just in this situation, I think it's the smarter move to start Vejmelka on the road and then probably start Prosvetov at home because
Now that's assuming Wedgwood isn't able to clear COVID because that'll be at the end of 5 days already.
I don't know the specifics about the 5 day, like when in the day it would be, because we are talking about like he was on the 10th. This is the game on Saturday is the 15th. So if you can play Wedgwood, I would say go with Wedgwood. But do you really want to go with Wedgwood because he has had
He's
over
had some bad
14
games.
games since he's or over 14 days since he's played. Like, and he can't have practiced on COVID, I don't think. So,
And what? He played the San Jose game in which that was way too much.
yeah. That was fun though. Because it was also way too much on the other edge of the ice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, the Coyotes also had a very similar game with the Chicago Blackhawks, but we still started Vejmelka after that. So that was also way too much. Just a
Yeah,
different, slightly less amount.
and I think that's what made this game interesting because because again we were expecting another high scoring bout, and all of a sudden we're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Only 2-1?
What about you? Who do you start Friday, Saturday?
It's definitely a tough call, but I'm gonna give it to the hot hand. It's it's weird, and it's weird because again we were talking about earlier this season and even going on last season about that 10 straight starts, 11 straight starts for Aiden Hill. I think then it was hard because like, okay, what game do you put Presvetov in? And well, more of like, let's just make it real. Rick Tocchet probably should have put Presvetov in one of those games. This is a case where it's just like, okay, you know what's coming up, and
Yeah.
you know the kind of games are coming up. And you saw the kind of last game that Vejmelka had, and you're like, okay, you can give him this, and the next game to Presvetov, and it doesn't seem that much of a problem because in this case, you're giving it a hot hand, letting him have that momentum, and then he's like, all right, you had another decent game, maybe, then you deserve a day off. We're gonna give it to Presvetov just so you can rest,
Yeah.
relax, rest easy, our king.
Don't get hurt. Because I do think that is a potential issue when you're just having these goalies do massive starts. Like the longer it happens, the more likely you're going to get injured, and I do think that so far the Coyotes have had somewhat good luck with that. Hutton was the only like real serious injury that we've dealt with. No, Wedgwood being on protocol, but I don't want to see Vejmelka get like overplayed and end up missing like a couple weeks with like a torn something or just a sprain. Like that'd be the worst case scenario.
No, absolutely, and that was one of the problems the Coyotes had last year, and that's the reason why they went through Kemper and Ranta and Hill, and they're like, "All right, Prosvetov, now it's your turn."
Yeah, we'll give you one game. I do. I want to see Prosvetov get like a good shot, but like not
You're
against
right.
the
He gets
Colorado
thrown to the wolves. He
Avalanche.
gets thrown to the wolves. It's a terrible game to get thrown to. Like
Yeah,
it's like why not give Prosvetov it's like why not have enough of a break so Prosvetov can go ahead and play the Canadians?
yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But if Prosvetov ends up playing, we'll go into some of his past starts because they have just been brutal matchups and just not his fault at all.
There's another option too that I'm thinking about it. And this is all assuming Wedgwood isn't able to come back until a certain period of time, and that is to start Prosvetov on Friday, bring Vejmelka back on Saturday, so Prosvetov can go again against the Canadiens on Monday.
I do kind of like that. I don't know. It all kind of depends on what you think of road games because on the one hand, road games tend to be kind of like a little bit more simplified, but On the other, you're playing in front of a hostile crowd. So there's pros and cons with starting either player, in my opinion. Just kind of like the psychological game, but I didn't even think about like the schedule game because you're right. That would be a good way to get him like some good ice.
And that would be like it's a little bit smarter on that case, and I think Chorney has been doing a good job on doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Although he wasn't behind the bench for this game.
No, he was not behind the bench for this game because he was on COVID protocol. Who was the stand-in head coach? I kind of tend to even pay attention.
I didn't even pay attention. I don't think the TNT broadcast like cut
Cared?
to anyone. No, they did not care. They did not care. Let's start with that. But yeah, I don't know who took over as head coach, and I closed the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, and I don't even see. Phil Housley.
Oh,
Phil
Housley got the tap.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean that makes sense. He's the senior most player. I mean coach on the team.
Yeah, definitely. And he made can't argue with the results. He made the right calls.
And it ended up being a win. But we
Yep.
are out of time though on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We'll be back to talk about Colorado, and then next week we will talk about Montreal. Teaser for you guys: we will have very likely a crossover, a Tank Squad crossover with our friends at Locked On Canadiens, because the two worst teams in the league match up. We'll see how that one goes, but that's it for today. Hope you guys like what you heard. If you did, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you're yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks for everyone who also tuned in via the live show on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter. We really appreciate all you guys for all your support. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Again, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. On Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. That's Robyn with a Y_LEANO. Karel Pavlock is Karel Pavlock FFH. Ask us a question you might have. We'll answer them right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. Have a good night. And don't forget to howl on.